All right, Mustang fans and surrounding areas, it's Wednesday, and that means it's Podcast Wednesday for me. And our first podcast here is to talk about the Ingleside Mustangs football. And on the screen, I have our athletic director, head football coach there for the Ingleside Mustangs, and that's Coach Travis Chrisman. Coach, how you doing?
Doing all right, Gabe. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, Coach.
Good.
Beautiful day outside. It was
Oh,
cool
no doubt.
morning. It was great. It's just this is great. I love this kind of weather. Not too hot, not too cold.
Yeah,
Just perfect.
pretty perfect.
Yes, sir. So it gets me going. So again, this will be our final podcast here for our football season. It won't be the last time we'll invite Coach Chrisman because he is our AD. So as we go into basketball, powerlifting, soccer, we're going to invite Coach to come back when he's available from time to time to talk about and get his thoughts on how the other programs are doing. So it won't be the last time you'll see Coach. But it will be for football until next year when we start 2 days. Coach, unfortunately, let's recap the game. We were in the playoffs first round. We played a good Port Isabel team. I thought this was going to be good. I thought we had a really good chance. I knew it was going to be really, really close, and it was. Unfortunately, we took the 28-21 loss, but the effort that was given and so close to getting to the second round, we fell a little short. But Coach, I'd like to get your thoughts first of all, just on the game, offense and defensively, just our performance, and we just came up a little short.
Yeah, no, we definitely did. Obviously not the outcome that we wanted. We had plenty of opportunities. We just didn't execute at a very high level, especially in the first half. Came back out and fired on a little bit higher cylinders in the second half, and was able to get it tied up at 21. And unfortunately, they strung together a really long drive that ate up a ton of clock, and were able to punch that last one in, and then just weren't able to seal it at the very end. But we were able to create some sparks, do some really good things. But unfortunately, it didn't go our way. Like I said, our execution wasn't as high as it needed to be in order to win that game. But nevertheless, we're still proud of our guys. They never stopped fighting, never quit, and we're still proud of them.
Absolutely. So am I. I mean, we did all 10 games and we're working on the playoffs. It's kind of difficult. People are asking me we could stream. The guys in Rockport can't even stream this week either because
Sure.
you got to go through, yeah, the Texan Live, like there's a contract. You have
For
to
all the
kind of,
licensing.
yeah, licensing.
Yeah,
They do charge 500, but if they are going to pick up the game, then it doesn't matter if you'll pay. So there are things that we're
gotcha.
working on to make sure that all of those things are taken care of so that we can stream the games. We don't want to do just the 10 games, right? We want to be able to do the playoffs. The
Sure.
playoffs are so important. So for all of the Mustangs that are wondering, we're definitely working on that. We'll be back next year with Coach Christmas permission to do all of the games again. But we're working to get to the playoffs so we can stream those as well. Coach, just talk a little bit about this team before we get into the seniors and stuff. Just overall, when we first got on this year, there was a lot of things that we were working towards. Right, there was going to be some changes, obviously, some challenges from last year's team to this year's team. But overall, just what did you think of the way the team, the way it started out, what you needed to see from them, and just how I thought we got better in a lot of areas week by week. Just your overall
Yeah.
thoughts on this team and the way they performed and got better.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we got better throughout the season. Our strength of schedule, especially once we hit week 5, got a lot tougher. We won the games, a lot of games that we were supposed to win. The Beeville game still gives me PTSD. Because that just should not have been the product that we put out on the field. And as coaches too, we'll take the blame on that one because we didn't put our kids in a good enough position to succeed in that capacity. But other than that, we bounced back well with Banquete and Ray, and had that tough game against Ray and was able to pull that out. And then of course hit Brownwood, and Brownwood is who they are, and very, very tough and junior heavy. They're going to return the bulk of their team next year. And then as I'm looking away, I'm looking at our schedule on my board. And then got that big win against Robstown, and then from there on out, man, it was playoff football. throughout districts. So we're playing a very very stacked district. The Rockport game should have been closer. Um, we did not perform as well as we needed to, and they probably played their best game of the year. So that was a bad combo for us. They played really really well that game, and then we're able to create some sparks early against Sinton, and then that game ended the way it did, and Cuero's kind of the same way. We were able to create a couple sparks, but just don't have the team size or speed that either one of those teams have. I feel like both games should have been closer, but overall, like we still scratched and clawed, got into the playoffs. Played a tough PI team who's unbelievably bigger than us across the board. Probably team average of weight is probably 50 to 60 pounds heavier per kid. And we were still able to drive the ball. We were still able to get stops. Had a big punt return touchdown on special teams and still made stuff happen. So, our kids were very dedicated. They had a much harder schedule than they did last year and didn't back down from anybody. And so that was one of the most important things to us as a coaching staff too, and what we talk and preach within our program is, rain, sleet, hail, snow, doesn't matter the opponent, we're gonna go and we're gonna play and we're gonna fight, no matter who we're playing. And I believe that as a team we can truly reflect and say that we did that. The record wasn't what we wanted it to be, but we fought every step of the way.
And I think that's what you want to see. And I saw that too in every game that we streamed. Is we never gave up. We continued to play. So many times we had some great drives that aren't going to be talked about, right? But if you went to
Yeah.
every game, there was some great drives, penalty here, turnover here, or just a sack or whatever. Just took those drives away. But there was a lot of times in those games that you mentioned that we lost, coach, that we really looked good driving the ball, getting some first downs, moving down the field. It's just like you said, just a mistake here, a mistake there, really. And when that drive, when you move the ball 30, 40, 50 yards, and then you get into the other side, and then something bad happens, a turnover, a sack or something, God, that really hurts. And that
I
happens.
got you.
It happened to us a lot, but the quit and the determination was always there. And I'm proud of the kids for what we put out there and the way they performed, whether we got the W or not. Coach, I want to give you also an opportunity to talk about the seniors. Obviously, when the season's over, it hurts. It's the last time you're going to play. Put on that jersey that you probably put on for 3 or 4 years or longer, and you don't play in that field. Talk a little bit about your seniors and what it meant, the leadership and those guys, and what they brought to the team this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought that a lot of the fight came from those guys. They definitely most of them put in, a solid 4-year portfolio. There's been a lot of come up in this program. Before I even got here, Coach Emmerich had those last 2 seasons were both pretty good, and both playoff teams, and we were able to just kind of build upon that. And so these guys were a significant part of that build, and won a pretty decent amount of games in the process. So, for them, a lot of them, it's the last time, like you said, they're going to put on a uniform. And so it's a kind of a surreal moment when that clock strikes 0. And, there's going to be a couple that will hopefully have opportunities in the near future to play at the next level. But when that clock strikes 0 and it kind of sets in that it's all over, man, it's a powerful moment. So with those guys, we're very appreciative of them and the work that they have put in, and we're looking forward to seeing what life looks like for them post high school.
Absolutely. And coach, I'll say this because I'm look, I am I'm happy to see what's coming up, coach. I am. I think we've got some really, really good talent. We're talking football here, right?
Yep.
But I think there are some guys that are coming up. We're going to be doing some great things. You really, really got to get excited. If you do some research and you talk to people, right? People that know, I'm real excited about what we've got coming up in the next 2 or 3 years. And what's going to be a very competitive district because it's going to be the same teams we play next year. So really excited. And thank you to the seniors, you guys, the leadership. All right. It's not always about the W's. I know that's what we play. We want to win all the games you practice to win, but there's so much other things that these guys do that doesn't get seen, right? in the weight room, leading these guys in practice, and we've had some good leadership. And so I want to thank them. It was really fun calling the games this year, Coach. Thank you for allowing me to do that, and TJ as well.
Absolutely.
And just getting to know the kids, getting to watch them. If you go to one game and you watch them, it's not enough. But if you go every week, you see the injuries. You talk to like we talk to you, Coach, every week. You really get to know the players and what they do. That's why we do the podcast, and it was really a lot of fun for me to be able to do that and get to watch these kids play every week. And I'm definitely looking forward to doing that again next year. Coach, let's turn to now the underclassmen, right? We had some guys just overall. I don't want to mention one because there was a lot of them,
Mhm.
but just really proud of what we saw of the younger group, playing both ways. And there were some kids that came up that they were put in a situation to go out there and perform, and they performed. Talk a
Yep.
little bit about the underclassmen and just what excites you about those guys that'll be coming back and possibly be leaders for our team next year.
No doubt. Like I said, we'll probably have a good amount of sophomores playing for us next year that are coming up. And a thing that I really like about our younger kids, with our JV and our freshman guys is they've got a burning desire to be really, really good. And they want to put in the work. They want to be coached hard. Um, they're very involved and they're very serious. They're very business-like when they approach when they're approaching the game and the craft that they're trying to enhance. So where that's something that's very, very exciting to us is how serious a lot of these kids take it. And so they know, because we're hammering it to them early, that the process doesn't, the process started in this past August. It doesn't start when they are potentially on varsity. It doesn't start when they're, down the line. This is a process that has to start early. You can't just snap your fingers into greatness. It does not work that way. So the process, you have to fall in love with the process. It's one of my favorite quotes from Matt Campbell at Iowa State is if you fall in love with the process is going to love you back. It may not be in the timeline that you want, but you're going to get some positive reinforcement from the work that you put in. So that's what we're trying to really, really ingrain into our guys that are coming back next year within our program and the eighth graders that are going to come up. So it's something that we're really, really emphasizing with these guys going into off season.
Excited to see. I
Yep.
know season is over for us, but already talking about next year. That's what we do here. That's what podcasters do. So I'm really, really excited. So definitely get behind the program. We've made the playoffs here in Ingleside. We've done good, and I think that's just going to continue, Coach. I really do, and I'm excited to see the talent I think that we have coming up and what the future is going to hold for these
Yep.
young guys for the next 2 to 3 years. And so when we talk about the players, obviously, rightfully so, they go out and they perform on the field. But you got to have great coaching. And we talked throughout the podcast. Coach was able to talk a little bit about each coach and how long they've been here. Some of them, quite a few actually, are alumni that played for Ingleside. So
Mhm.
I always think, Coach, that when you coach, you want to win wherever you go. But when you come back and coach at the school that you graduated, it's just a little bit, just more
Yeah, it
special.
means a little bit more.
It does, right? You
Yep.
really want to succeed. Your heart's in it. You played on that field. But talk a little bit overall. These coaches that you had, they were great. They come up and pass us up and say hi to us, and
Mhm.
that's some coaches that just pass you up. They're just like tuned in. These coaches would stop by, shake our hand,
Yep.
and what do you need? I mean, it was great. Didn't really talk to any of them for a long period of time, but just I would
Yeah.
see small things that they did, and I'd be like, wow, they got a game, and they take the time to shake our hands. They know
Mhm.
what we do. So I was always grateful. So we got some great coaches. Just talk about what they meant this year and how special they are.
Yeah, no, we've got an unbelievably dedicated staff that we're very blessed to have. To go along to your point, we have a very personable staff that we pride ourselves on the relationships that we make, and not just with our kids. It's got to be within the community as well, and anybody that comes across our path. It's because you never know when you're going to not necessarily need something from them, but it's better to make friends than enemies. And so by giving those that cross our path the time of day, the respect, that they deserve is very monumental to how we treat everybody within our program and within the community. So we want to emulate that to our kids as well, and we want them to give those around them the respect that they deserve too. And so we want to, just create a positive light in any way we can. It's hard to get past some of the screaming and yelling that we receive that comes with the territory, but it is what it is. It's what you signed up for. It's part of it, and when stuff like that's going on, you're disappointed to hear it, but at the same time, you got to have short memory and just know that what we're doing is what we believe is absolutely best for the kids first and foremost. And I truly believe that that's what our coaching staff does. We're always going to put our kids first in whatever we do, and we're going to do our absolute best to put them in a successful position. Are we going to do that 100% of the time? No, it's not possible. We're all human. We make mistakes. And myself, obviously putting myself at the forefront of that, I don't always call the perfect play. And some things, sometimes you draw it up and man, it looks great on paper, and then you put it out there and oh crap, that didn't work. and so you flush it and move on. So it's something that we care deeply about, love our staff, love their dedication to what we do and the dedication to our kids. So we're very, very proud of all of them.
Yeah, I think so too. When you're a fan, I mean, they want to win, and when things don't go right, they point fingers. And you should have done this. I used to be like that, coach. I ain't gonna lie to you. When I was, man, if you just did this, and I started doing the podcast and hearing the coaches every week talk about the amount of time that's spent during football season, you're more there in your office than you are at home, I think. And so it's just a lot of dedication, and you see that. And I want to be able to bring that out because that's something that coach that's never really talked about. And coaches are never going to pat themselves. They just don't do that. Never met a coach that comes on and pats themselves, gives the credit to everybody else. And that's why when we do these podcasts, we see what the coaches do. And on this podcast or any podcast that we do, we want to be able to always recognize our coaches. And in Ingleside, it starts with you. You set the foundation, but you got some great coaches there, coach. We've got some great ones in Ingleside, and they've done a great job with our kids, not just teaching them football, but showing respect. And like you said, you got to lead by example. We got some good ones there. Also, coach, our athletic trainer, we talked about her once, but just the phenomenal job that they do, right? I have seen, and I've talked to other coaches that we do podcast on, and they all say the same thing. We would not be where we are without them. Just they'd be lost, right? They say.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's anything you want to add to our athletic director and just the job, the good job that she does.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like you said, there is a lot of a lack of glory, if you will, in being the athletic trainer. It's not an overly publicized position, and so when you can give credit, you got to because they do a lot. There's a lot of work to be done, and so like with ours, like Miss Sturgeon does a great job with developing our student trainers and giving them their designated responsibilities and just making sure that a lot of things are taken care of that anybody to the outside eye would never see. Unless you're down in here in the field house and know what's going on, you would never know. But those group of student ATs work really, really hard. They're very dedicated, and they put in a lot of hours too. They put in a lot of hours, and it's very appreciated, especially like with Miss Sturgeon's guidance. She works a ton of hours too, works a ton of hours, and is dedicated to her craft. So yeah, you're right. Wouldn't be anywhere without him.
Yeah, and if I said director, I apologize. I meant trainer. I'm not sure.
I know what you meant.
But the thing is, coach, yeah, because I've watched them. I paid more attention, coach, as I have watched games, right? Like I go to middle school games or even Saturday games, and I'm always seeing athletic trainers out there. And I'm like, wow, like they're here. Then they got to be there on Tuesday. And we want to recognize them on the podcast because you're right. They do so much behind the scenes that they got to prepare and get these kids ready, the injuries and stuff. So they do. So they're so important to the athletic program. And anytime we get an opportunity to recognize them, we definitely want to do that. So we've got we've talked about the coaches, the players. We've talked about our athletic trainer and just everybody that's there. Coach, I want to take this time to also thank you. You have a big responsibility. You're doing two jobs, right? You have the AD and you have the head football coach. And
Right.
a lot of the schools around here have that. And I talk to a lot of them, and people don't understand the work that goes into that. You've got to be worried about the football team, and you got to get them ready every week, long hours, and then you got to worry about the other sports as well. So much goes into the athletic director, head football coach, and I think, Coach, you've done an awesome job. We're glad to have you here in Ingleside. I think they got the right guy. Obviously, this is your second year, but just getting to know you, Coach. I'm really appreciative of the fact that you come on with as busy as you've been. You didn't miss one podcast. You were
Oh,
on coming. He's just coming from another town straight in to do this
yep.
podcast. I just want to say, Coach, thank you. I greatly appreciate that you take a little bit of time to come out to the MP Sports Network and help us continue to build this to be able to live stream and talk to coaches. So just want to thank you for that, and looking forward to continuing to bring you on the rest of this year and then next year. So it's been great. The football season obviously ended early, but again, you've heard us talk here about all of the good things that we've done. Now the off season starts for Mustang fans for football. It starts right now, and you get into that weight room and you start working hard on next year. It didn't start in 2 days. It starts now, preparing yourself for next football season. So definitely happy to hear and excited to see what next year is going to bring for our Mustang program. Coach, before I let you go, I'd like to give you the final thoughts, man. Anything you'd like to add? Anything you'd like to say before we say goodbye?
Yeah, just again, appreciate you and everything you putting into this MPND network, making it, man, you're doing all the legwork for it. So, man, major shout out to you for making it all happen.
Absolutely, Coach. And just before I let Coach go, I do want to say I have talked to Coach. We are going to stream the basketball game, so I haven't reached out to the basketball coaches because I didn't know if football was going to go another week. And I said, okay, I'll now go into basketball and football. I better wait. So today, Coach Whittle, I believe, is the girls basketball
Right.
head coach, and Coach Spencer, I believe, is
Yeah.
for the boys. So they will be receiving, if you see this, you'll be receiving an email from me today, so we can work on next week what day works and time works for you guys to come on. So
Mhm.
now we can jump ship and start talking about basketball. Basketball season's around the corner. Let's see how well we do there. I think we're going to
Yep.
do good about the program, Coach. So thank you very much, and I'll be inviting you from time to time to come on to talk about the other programs and how well we're doing.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Coach. Have a good
All
one.
right. Appreciate you.